US President Donald Trump is set to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing next week during a two-day visit, his first trip to China in 8 years. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the two leaders would discuss Iran and urged Beijing to use its influence to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz to international shipping. The strait has been closed since the outbreak of the US-Israeli conflict with Iran, disrupting energy flows and raising costs for manufacturers. Before the conflict, around a fifth of global oil and liquefied natural gas moved through the Strait of Hormuz, with much of it headed to Asia. China has a central role because it is the world's biggest crude importer and has been the main buyer of Iranian oil in recent years. That gives Beijing leverage over Tehran, but also leaves it exposed to the energy shock caused by the closure. Diplomacy has intensified ahead of Trump's visit. Iran's foreign minister met his Chinese counterpart in Beijing, where China backed efforts to ease tensions and called for safe passage through the strait. Trump has also paused a US effort to escort ships through the route, citing progress on a possible deal with Tehran. But the crisis is also feeding into US-China tensions. Washington has sanctioned Chinese refineries and shipping companies over purchases of Iranian crude. Beijing has invoked its anti-sanctions law and told companies not to comply with the US measures. Beijing is expected to raise its objections to US arms sales to Taiwan, while Washington is likely to press China on trade barriers and industrial policy. The two sides remain divided over technology controls, with the US limiting access to advanced chips and China tightening its hold over critical minerals used in high-tech manufacturing. This makes the summit not only a test of diplomacy over Hormuz, but also a wider test of whether Washington and Beijing can contain their growing rivalry.